In a game full of demons, dragons, and monstrous entities from the outer dark, it's important to remember that not every monster is so intimidating. Today, we're running down Yu-Gi-Oh's goodest boys and girls in a list of the heckin' good doggo friends. Don't let their sharp teeth fool you, that's a grin, not a snarl. Ghostrick Warwolf is the first dog on this list at number 10, and it's a level 3 dark zombie with 1400 attack and 1500 defense from the 2014 set Primal Origin, who loves when new friends visit the Ghostrick mansion. Like other Ghostrick main deck monsters, Warwolf shares the Ghostrick archetypal shyness. These friendly creatures don't like to be alone, and cannot be normal summoned while there's not another Ghostrick already on the field. That means if you control no monsters and only have Ghostrick Warwolf in hand, you'll have to set instead of summoning. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. The Ghostricks love jumping out to scare unsuspecting wanderers, and often accomplish this by suddenly activating their effects after being flipped face up. Warwolf's go-to move is to inflict 100 burn damage to your opponent for each set card on the field. While this total might be as little as 0, the Ghostricks are pretty good at scaring your opponent's monsters into face-down defense position, with cards like Ghostrick Scare, Ghostrick Witch, Ghostrick Nekomusume, Ghostrick Go Round, Ghostrick Doll, Ghostrick Fairy, Ghostrick or Treat, Ghostrick Yugioh, and Ghostrick Museum, all being able to achieve variations of booking your opponent's cards at various speeds. Then there's Ghostrick Knight, a continuous trap that stops your opponent from flip summoning to keep them locked. And all of this without counting your own set Ghostrick monsters in back row. While Ghostrick Warwolf's burn is unlikely to score you games as reliably as other Ghostrick win conditions, like using your stronger Ghostricks to attack directly with assistance from the Ghostrick field spells and Ghostrick Festival, or even trying for Ghostrick Angel of Mischief's alternate win condition of accumulating 10 Xyz materials for her, you're probably not scoring games super reliably with Ghostricks anyway. Sadly, a creative playstyle and whimsical art aren't enough for a deck to see competitive success. But Warwolf can still be a useful tech in the Ghostrick's somewhat limited toolbox if you're successfully able to control the pace of a game by locking down your opponent's cards and zones with cards like Ghostrick Knight and Ghostrick Succubus. Then Ghostrick Warwolf is a reliable method of steadily chipping away towards victory without altering the state of the field. While Ghostrick Warwolf doesn't have anime appearances of its own, its design is remarkably similar to Zombie Werewolf, a card as yet exclusive to the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX anime, used by the very industrious vampire duelist Kamula in episode 31, 32, and 33 in her duel against Vale and Crowler, Zane Truesdale, and Jaden Yuki. Zombie Werewolf is a bipedal werewolf with broken bindings and ripping cargo shorts, which is almost the exact same outfit as Ghostrick Warwolf, who takes the aesthetic one step further with a spiky collar. But unlike Zombie Werewolf, who is not only a good boy and does not qualify for this list, the Ghostricks are both ghoulish and gleeful. They are mischievous, but ultimately harmless spirits who are the undead life of the party, and for that we can celebrate scoring number 10 on this list. The number 9 good dog on this list is kind of the opposite of Ghostrick Warwolf. It's Fluffal Dog, a level 4 Earth Fairy with 1700 attack and 1000 defense. The Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG adopted Fluffal Dog in November of 2014 as part of the new Challenger set. With its decent low-level stat line, Fluffal Dog does fine on the field on its own, but plays better with friends. After being summoned, Fluffal Dog will fetch another Fluffal monster from the deck. But while this and Fluffal Dog as a whole might seem cute and harmless, they do have the option of fetching a copy of Edge Imp Sabers instead. See, the Fluffal monsters pair with Edge Imp cards to create fusion monsters called Frightfurs. These sinister monsters are rendered all the more menacing by the remaining traces of the corrupted Fluffal cuteness. But they're actually a very fun strategy to play. If you like drawing cards, this is the deck for you, and Fluffal Dog is one of your starters. Often you'll be using Fluffal Dog to search out Fluffal Bear, which can discard itself from hand to set a copy of the continuous spell Toy Vendor directly from deck. Toy Vendor has the soft once per turn effect to discard 1 to draw 1, and then if you drew a Fluffal monster, you can special summon a monster from your hand. Otherwise, the drawn card is discarded. But Toy Vendor isn't done yet. After being sent to the graveyard, Toy Vendor can repeat Fluffal Dog's effect to add Edge Imp Sabers or a Fluffal monster from deck to hand. This is already a wild amount of searches and draws. But we're not done yet. Both Fluffal Penguin and Fluffal Wings can be searched by Fluffal Dog. When Fluffal Wings is in the grave while Toy Vendor's on the field, you can banish it and another grave residing Fluffal to draw 1 card, after which you have the option to send Toy Vendor to the graveyard to draw another. So that's 2 cards plus Toy Vendor's graveyard search off of 1 activation. And if you draw into more copies of Toy Vendor, you can keep the cards coming. Although the effects of Fluffal Wings, Fluffal Bear, and Fluffal Dog can only be activated once per turn, the Fluffals have more drawing tools in the form of Fluffal Penguin. When used as a material for the fusion of a Frightfur, Fluffal Penguin activates Engrave to let you draw 2 cards at the cost of discarding 1. This effect can easily be facilitated by other fusion-centric Fluffal, Edge Imp, or Frightfur cards like Fluffal Owl, which can grab Polymerization from deck or become Polymerization itself at the cost of 500 life points. Edge Imp Scythe, which can activate from hand as a quick effect during your opponent's main phase to fuse a Frightfur monster using cards from hand or field. Or Frightfur Patchwork, which searches Polymerization and an Edge Imp. Fluffal Dog obediently sits at the center of 2 of Frightfur's major draw lines, able to search Fluffal Bear and Fluffal Wings to start vending toys, or Fluffal Penguin to stock your fusions, and it has a decent number of competitive placements to match its versatility. Still, the Frightfurs are aptly named for being pretty scary. So as good as Fluffal Dog is, it's going to have to patiently stay near the bottom of this list. But even with all of its frightful fusions, drawing Fluffal Dog is a treat, and they deserve one too. Keeping an eye on the number 8 spot on this list is the level 1 Pyro with 0 attack, Watchdog. Released alongside Fluffal Dog in late 2014 as part of the new challengers. Watchdog can also search out your toy vendor, or any other continuous spell. During the second main phase of the turn you summon Watchdog, you can send a spell from hand to set a continuous spell from your deck. You can activate it this turn, but you can't activate Watchdog's search effect if you special summon, and you won't be able to special summon after Watchdog's activation. This is a steep price, but kind of gels with the concept of a Watchdog. They're not themselves acting, not yet, but they are watching and prepared to, and you'll be more prepared for your opponent with a continuous spell of your choice. Since Watchdog's got no attack, a powerful floodgate like Messenger of Peace or the Dark Door could be a wise search target. Or if you've accounted for Watchdog's battle vulnerability in other ways, you could use it to disrupt your opponent's plays with cards like Summoning Curse, Dimensional Fissure, Deck Lockdown, or even Prohibition. Searchable and recursable by new Pyro support like Bonfire and Oil, plus also generic level 1 support like 1-for-1 and Where Art Thou, Watchdog is super accessible. There's even a Bonfire in its card art. But don't be fooled by their affinity for fire. Watchdog is rocking ice on its paw. Check out that wristwatch. As if we needed more evidence of Watchdog's good boydom. Let's meet its friend, Watchcat. A level 1 Earth Beast with 0 attack and 1800 defense, Watchcat huddles around the bonfire with Watchdog, together keeping their eyes on the night while the rest of us slumber peacefully. If you control no monsters, you can special summon Watchcat, and during the end phase of a turn it was special summoned, you can banish it to set a continuous spell from your deck. While its effect is more flexible than Watchdog's and doesn't lock you out of anything, you do lose out on the chance to activate your continuous spell that turn, making the choice of which animal guardian you should call on purely situational. But what's not situational, Watchdog's place on this list as the well-earned number 8. Funny we should mention animal guardians in the last entry, because our next good boy is the level 1 Earth Beast with no attack or defense from 2024's Phantom Nightmare set, Principug. Its royally adorable card art shows off the impressive array of doggy toys that Principug has accumulated. But this pup is about to display even more ingenuity in its capacity to fetch. It can banish itself from the graveyard to target a guardian monster that can't be normal summoned or set, that's stuck in the grave with it. After targeting, you've got 2 choices. You can either add that card to your hand, or add another card mentioned by that monster from grave to hand. This is kind of a bizarre direction for Principug to take, but works great with the new Gate Guardian archetype. Being able to bounce Gate Guardian fusions from your graveyard back to the extra deck is great, but being able to recycle their materials, Kazagen, Suijin, and Song of Thunder is even better. While the new Fusion Guardian strategy has a built-in way to get the 3 Elemental Guardians out of the graveyard with Gate Guardians combined, the partial fusions need their materials on the field. With Link Karibo banned in the TCG, getting Principug safely into the grave isn't as easy as it used to be. But the Gate Guardian deck's synergy with level 7 spellcasters lends itself well to Magician's Soul's draw engine, which can get you a free body on the field to pair off with your normal summon Principug into a Link 2, potentially a Nightmare, whose discard cost for removal can be recouped with Principug in grave. And that's not actually the end of Principug's usefulness. On the field, it can target monsters with Guardian in its original name that cannot be normal summoned or set. and give that monster a second attack during the battle phase, which is pretty nifty, especially since it comes at no cost. And the Gate Guardians aren't the only cards that can benefit from their very own Principug. Guardian Chimera is a fantastic generic fusion that can both draw and destroy cards when it hits the field. Recycling one from grave back to the extra deck for another big summon is excellent. And we're not even done talking about Principug synergies, because Skull Guardian, Protector of the Voiceless Voice, mentions both Prayers of the Voiceless Voice and Lo, the Prayers of the Voiceless Voice. Principug has the ability to return all 3 to hand, and can even lend the Protector Skull Guardian an extra attack. Yapping up a storm at number 6 is the Fabled Chawa, a level 1 light beast tuner with 200 attack and 100 defense from Dual Terminal World that first dispensed into the TCG in January 2011, and released widely with Hidden Arsenal 4 Trishul's Triumph in April of the same year. While Chawa's status as a good boy is perhaps arguable, as the Fables were a chaotic and mostly evil force in the Dual Terminal World, the Fabled Chawa nonetheless gets certified good boy status on this list. It's based on a Chihuahua, and what Chihuahua isn't a little annoying if not openly evil sometimes. The Fabled reside in their own plane, known as the Fabled Realm, parallel to and beneath the surface world. The plane is divided into 3 domains of escalating power, with only the strongest entities of the innermost realm of gods having the ability to open the gates of chaos. The residents of the mid-tier realm of roars and least powerful realm of demons, including the Fabled Chawa and others, are unable to operate the gateway to their world and are therefore subject to the whims of the fabled gods. But duelists who draw into the Fabled Chawa are often thrilled to see the little guy, as its effect to discard a fabled monster to special summon itself from the hand both gets a body on the board and opens up access to the powerful effects that many fabled monsters activate on discard. Fabled Lori and Fabled Ganashia are 2 options that work really well with Chawa, since both are able to special summon themselves from the grave after the Chawa discard. Chawa plus Lori is an easy formula synchron, and Chawa plus Ganashia is an easy recipe for the Fabled Unicorn, one of Yu-Gi-Oh's Celia's floodgates. Did you know that in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links you can build a high skill threshold and massively cracked Unicorn deck by combining Fabled cards with a bunch of quick effect hand traps? The starting hand is 4 cards, and you can even use Obedient Schooled with the other arguably good boy, the Fabled Cerberell, for a 1-card Unicorn combo, and then negate everything your opponent might try by mimicking their hand size. Okay, now back to the Chihuahua, but staying with Duel Links. The Fabled Chawa has seen competitive play too. After many years of skills being entirely character dependent, Duel Links began rolling out archive skills, which can be used by every character, with the only qualifying factor being whether the skill is meant for speed duels or rush duels. While some of these archive skills are generic, most go toward upping the power level of a specific archetype, like the Mayakashis, Constellars, and Cleaforts, and that's where Contract Fabled comes in. Released alongside fresh waves of Fabled support, including cards like Fabled Marcosia and Fabled Antwraith, the Contract Fabled skill allows duelists to send a monster from hand or field to the graveyard to add a Fabled card from graveyard to hand twice, and shuffle a Fabled card from hand into the deck to add another Fabled from deck to hand once. Additionally, on the turn you use the deck search part of the skill, you can normal summon an extra Fabled Grimro. Using this skill comes at the cost of being locked out of normal or special summoning non-Fabled main deck monsters, and the graveyard swap part of the skill can only be used once per turn. But this skill combined with the new support was enough for Fabled decks, including the Fabled Chawa, to see consistent competitive play. The number 5 good boy in this list loves long walks along the craters of the moon, rolling around in space dust, and letting its tongue flap out the open window flying saucer Musiki. It's Alien Dog, a level 3 light reptile with 1500 attack and 1000 defense. Alien Dog first broached our neck of the TCG Cosmos with the 2009 set Raging Battle. While aliens have never been a tangible meta threat, they do lurk on the outskirts of competitive play space, and Alien Dog is an important part of that. Able to special summon itself from hand when you normal summon another alien monster, Alien Dog has the added bonus of placing 2 A counters on some of your opponent's face-up monsters. Many alien monsters passively benefit from these counters, with your opponent's monsters frequently losing 300 attack and defense per counter during the battle phase. While this doesn't apply to every alien monster, including Alien Dog, A counters have another use, or rather multiple other uses. In a move reminiscent of the Xenomorph from Alien 1979, Alien Stealth Burster places 2 A counters on opposing monsters when sent to the graveyard, and can banish itself from the graveyard to destroy a monster with an A counter. Cosmic Fortress Golgar can remove 2 A counters from anywhere to destroy a card. But perhaps most relevant Alien Dog is the effect of Alien Overlord, which can special summon itself from hand by removing 2 A counters from the field. This means that by normal summoning one alien monster, you can extend with both Alien Dog and Alien Overlord, a level 6 with decent attack and the ability to place an A counter on all of your opponent's face-up monsters once per turn. The invasion gets even bigger if you use your normal summon on Alien Ammonite, a tuner that can also revive a level 4 lower alien from the grave. Modern alien decks will often aim to summon Cosmic Slicer Zeral, a Link 3 who requires 2 or more reptiles as materials and lives up to its menacing design. It has a decent 2600 attack, but it'll be hard for adversaries to beat over Zeral when all their monsters with A counters are switched to defense position, and to have all of their effects negated. And to help you get there, on its Link summon, Zeral searches a copy of any card that can place an A counter from your deck. What's more, Zeral can remove 2 A counters to let you normal summon another reptile. Turns out man's best friend is Alien 2, because Alien Dog is a great tool for extending into cosmic horrors beyond mortal imagination. And speaking of horrors, Alien Dog was also good in Duel Links. Alien decks had a big run in the format during the summer of 2019, propelled by the combination of Alien Dog and Alien Overlord, with decent normal summons like Alien Warrior and Alien Telepath, which could trade A counters to destroy pesky back row. A-Cell Recombination Device and Mysterious Triangle helped to give the deck consistency to invade the Duel Links meta, going toe-to-toe with powerful decks like Koiki Miru, 6 Samurais, and Survival and Dinos. A dog that's capable of giving 6 Samurais a hard time is good by any metric, and we should be thrilled to host the Alien Invasion because they have such a cool pet. Sitting patiently staying at spot number 4 is the outstanding pup pair, Marron and Mary. Outstanding Dog Marron first released in 2003 set Dark Crisis, and it has the same level 1 light attribute and 100 attack and defense as Outstanding Dog Mary, who released into the TCG 18 years later with Destiny Burst. Outstanding Dog Marron has the very simple effect of just shuffling itself back into the deck when it's sent to the graveyard, and is the focal subject of the artwork for staple level 1 search spell Where Art Thou. This spell searches a level 1 while you control level 1, but you'll take 2000 damage during the end phase if you fail to summon that monster, or one with the same name. So what's outstanding about Marron? Well, in the early days of Yu-Gi-Oh! When it first released, its effect to keep clear of the graveyard could be read as a mark of loyalty. Outstanding Dog Marron won't go to the graveyard and will instead steadily make its way homeward, bound to you by returning to the deck. Of course, as the state of the game advanced, the graveyard became something like a second hand, meaning you'd probably rather Marron take a short rest there than unfindably shuffle themselves. So let's talk about Where Art Thou, and the saddest arc of Marron's story. In the artwork, we see both a child searching for Marron and Marron obediently sitting waiting to be found. Tragically, these two must miss each other, because after 1,000 years, he's still waiting. Time has withered its fur and sinew to bone, but has not eroded Marron's outstanding love. An eon later, Skull Dog Marron is still waiting to be found. And then he is. The White family adopts a skeletal pup, and they spend their eternal unlife together eating barbecue, playing fetch, and going on vacation. I'm deciding that everything turned out okay after the events of quarantine. There are other variants of Marron too, Mad Dog of Darkness and Mecha Dog Marron. One is a fiend and the other a machine, suggesting that either Marron had a more eventful 1,000 years than the flavor text of Skull Dog Marron implies, or we're dealing with another one of Yu-Gi-Oh's famous branching timelines a la Warrior Digrapher and Warrior of Zera. Okay, time to take a look at our goodest girl, Outstanding Dog Mary. She has an effect that's both inspired by and complementary to Marron's. First, when she's sent to the graveyard, you can activate your choice of 2 resolutions. Either Outstanding Dog Mary can place itself on the bottom of your deck, or she can add a copy of Outstanding Dog Marron from your deck to your hand and then place herself on top of your deck. While neither of these effects are going to place either Poodle in competitive deck lists right now, it's nice that Mary can find Marron. Perhaps she presents another timeline where Outstanding Dog Marron is found, and this is even kind of mirrored by the effect of Where Art Thou, which is able to search Marron while Outstanding Dog Mary is on the field. Both Marron and Mary are canonized outstanding, and well deserve their spot on the list for their alternatively heartwarming and breaking stretch of Yu-Gi-Oh! Card lore. And if you're into that kind of heartbreak, totally check out our video on the top 10 saddest Yu-Gi-Oh! Deaths. You probably won't cry, which also means you might. And fetching the number 3 spot on this list is Melffy Puppy. Aside from being one of the most adorable cards and one of the most adorable archetypes, Melffy Puppy is a level 2 Earth Beast with 300 attack and 200 defense, that was released in the 2020 set Rise of the Duelist alongside Melffy's Rabby, Fenny, Caddy, Pony, Mommy, Of the Forest, Tag, Playhouse, and Hide and Seek. The idea behind these playful little critters is that they can scamper around and special summon themselves during your end phase, and then tag back into the hand for interruptions and effects during your opponent's turn. Melffy Pony, for example, can bounce itself back to recur a level 2 or lower beast monster from your graveyard to your hand in response to your opponent summoning a monster or targeting it for an attack. Melffy Caddy can tag out when your opponent summons a monster or targets it for an attack, and lets you search for a beast monster from deck to hand. Melffy Puppy, resident good doggy number 3, tags out under the same conditions as all the others, and summons a level 2 or lower beast from your deck. This pairs really well with Kalantosa, Mystical Beast of the Forest, which can target and destroy a card when it's special summoned by the effect of a beast monster. The playstyle of the Melffys is meant to inspire the scampering of little creatures in the forest, quick to startle and even faster on their feet, with this spirit evoked by their bouncy, flighty effects. What's particularly noteworthy about the Melffys is that they often go positive in card advantage. After Kalantosa or whoever else is summoned by Melffy Puppy, you've still got Melffy Puppy. It's just in your hand. But don't worry, because Puppy is coming back during your next end phase. Of the Melffy Xyz monsters, you'll probably want to use Melffy of the Forest more often than Joyous Melffy or Melffy Mommy. You can detach material to search a Melffy from deck. But more importantly, when a Melffy bounces itself back to hand, Melffy of the Forest gets to target one of your opponent's monsters and negate its effects, plus make the monster unable to attack for as long as it stays on the field. This gives you the option to play around some effect destruction immunities while comboing Melffy Puppy with Melffy of the Forest. If your opponent makes the mistake of summoning Arch Nemesis Protoss, hoping to take advantage of your Melffy's shared Earth attribute, Melffy Puppy can tag out to summon Kalantosa. Then, when setting up your chain after Puppy's resolution, you can assign the Kalantosa Pop 1 after Forest Negate 2, so that Melffy of the Forest neutralizes Protoss protection before Kalantosa clears it from the board. As an archetype of level 2 beasts, the Melffys enjoy synergies with powerful decks like Runic and Sprite, and have great consistency cards in the form of Melffy Wally, which can summon 2 Melffys from deck when it tags out, and Melffy Staring Contest, which can help you get the Melffys you need into your hand without responding to your opponent. Melffy Puppy is a good boy for getting along with its forest friends, and for being a vital component of the cute critter control strategy. Breaking containment to wildly howl the number 2 spot is the Unchained Abomination, a Link 4 Dark Fiend with 3000 attack and an absurd number of effects. Originally released with Abomination's Prison in 2019's Chaos Impact set, Unchained decks would go on to carve a consistent space in the TCG competitive meta for their versatility and reactivity. Unchained Abomination requires 2+ materials, and one of those has to be a Link monster. But that's not a problem, because Unchained Soul of Rage is a Link 3 that can target an opponent's monster to use as material to link into a Link 4. That means that in the process of summoning Unchained Abomination, you can remove one of your opponent's strongest monsters as a cost. And that's just what happens leading up to the moment Unchained Abomination hits the field. But before we talk about that, there's a bit more to say about Unchained Soul of Rage and its kindred spirit, Unchained Soul of Anguish. Anguish is a Link 2 that can use an opponent's monster as a Link material to summon Unchained Soul of Rage, or another Dark Link monster during your opponent's main phase. And this is a quick effect. That means you can access Unchained's Link cost-based removal repeatedly, using Unchained Soul of Anguish on your opponent's turn and Unchained Soul of Rage on your own. You can even go into another Unchained Soul of Anguish using the effect of Unchained Soul of Rage, if you want to prioritize being able to continue cost removing your opponent's monsters in the next turn. But Unchained Abomination is the ultimate form of the Unchained Souls, the result of blended anguish and rage empowered by the Unchained twins, Aruha and Rakia, and it's a force of unbridled, unmatched destruction. To start, if a card is destroyed by card effect, Unchained Abomination gets to respond by destroying another card. While it can't trigger its own effect, your other Unchained cards definitely can. When another monster is destroyed by battle, Unchained Abomination can target a card and destroy it. Critically, this can be both your opponent's monsters that you destroy or monsters destroyed by your opponent, giving you the option to recklessly dive with your low levels, counting on Abomination's removal to recoup losses. Finally, Unchained Abomination gets to target and destroy one more card during the end phase, and this effect doesn't come with a condition. Realistically, every turn Unchained Abomination is on the field, you're looking at probably 2 and maybe even 3 pops. While it might lack its own inherent protections, Abominable Chamber of the Unchained and Unchained Soul Lord of Yama provide an archetype revival to make up for that. Now, this is all very interesting, but doesn't answer a question that's pretty important for this list. Is the Unchained Abomination a good boy? The answer is yes. Yes, its visage is fearsome, but anyone who's ever matched against Flunderees will tell you that you can't spell cute without cut. Unchained Abomination is a very good boy because it can systematically dismantle your opponent's board after removing stubborn boss monsters as cost. So next time you come across the Unchained Abomination, ask the cool goths taking it for a walk if you can be its friend. Abominations deserve love and pets too. Charging in to take the #1 spot on this list of Yu-Gi-Oh dogs is Ryko Lightsworn Hunter. This iconic level 2 light beast with 200 attack and 100 defense from 2008's Light of Destruction set has more competitive placements than Pendulum cards have words, and well deserves its spot at the top of the dog pile. On field, Ryko has a powerful flip effect, and while flip monsters aren't known for being the strongest kind of cards now, they were better back in 2008, if not hugely good. But Ryko's effect is interesting. It has 2 components, and instead of activating one or the other, or in sequence, both effects occur at the same time. First, it gets to destroy a card in the field without targeting, and also first, because the effects are simultaneous, Ryko mills 3 off the top of your deck. The steep self-mill is a hallmark of the Lightsworn archetype, which favors a no-holds-barred wild charge playstyle that churns cards off the top of your deck to power their aggressive effects. Charge of the Light Brigade, which mills 3 to search a Lightsworn monster, and Solar Recharge, which lets you discard a Lightsworn monster to draw 2 and mill 2, can help you reach important cards, while stocking others in your graveyard. These huge mills were a big part of Lightsworn's value, and when combined with other decks with graveyard synergies like Dragon Rulers, who benefited from grave-bound copies of Eclipse Wyvern. In particular, combining Lightsworns with grave-friendly dark strategies like Shaddolls set you up perfectly for the inclusion of strong Chaos monsters like Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, and Chaos Sorcerer. In these decks, Ryko was an excellent defensive tech, which could poke your opponent's board while empowering your graveyard. Ryko even has synergies independent of the rest of the Lightsworns by virtue of being a level 2 beast. Valerie Fawn, Mystical Beast of the Forest, can summon it in face-down defense position. And remember earlier when we talked about Duel Links Unicorn control? Ryko is a big part of that deck too, especially since Obedient Gold requires beast monster targets with different names. Both Ryko and its Twilight counterpart are easy includes, since a Light Ryko uses material with Obedient Gold gives you the ability to banish a card with Twilight Ryko. But what's up with these Light and Dark Sworns anyway? Well, the Lightsworn are an order of warriors that have accepted the holy mission set forth by Michael the Arch Lightsworn. Their aim is to come to the material aid of those who pray for help, and they'll burn huge swaths of magical energy on extra dimensional travel to do it. When they disappear back to their realm, they take with them a chosen few who pledge loyalty to the Lightsworn cause. So what's up with the Twilightsworns? Well, they're a secret organization within the Lightsworns that have accepted their own duality between light and dark. If they hope to accomplish all of their lofty goals, they cannot restrict themselves to only lofty means. But even the original lofty purpose of the Lightsworn are debatable. They're a military order exerting influence in distant spheres across the cosmos, recruiting as they go to further their own might. In time, this inevitably leads them to conflict with denizens of Darkworld. Although the Darkworldians are fiends, it's important to note that they aren't necessarily evil in the same way that the Lightsworn are not necessarily good. Zurur, for example, is a knight of Darkworld who is famous and loved for his refusal to oppress the common folk. Still, nefarious plots are afoot in Darkworld, and out of the unrest comes a Lightsworn encroachment, or rather the Twilightsworn, as it is Ryko, Twilightsworn fighter, who finds himself menaced by Grapha, Dragon Lord of Darkworld, and Gold, Wu Lord of Darkworld. While things appear dire for Ryko, it would be his identity as a good boy that would deliver him from Darkworld. Instead of fighting or hunting his way free, Ryko would actually befriend the unlight of Darkworld. Look at that tail wag in the art of Darkworld puppetry. Snow would actually venture back with Ryko, joining the Order as West's Lightsworn Archfiend, and this is where Ryko's story rests for now. He's back with the Lightsworn Order, who have begun to more openly embrace their dual nature, as evidenced by techniques like the Twilight Eraser and the revelation of Punishment Dragon to coincide with Light Attribute Judgment Dragon, and also their fused form Enlightenment Dragon. But is this really the end? Might the intentions of the Lightsworn Archfiend be more sinister, and the puppeteering manipulations of Darkworld brainwashing more permanent than they both appear on the surface? Only time will tell if, in addition to making the top of Yu-Gi-Oh! Good Boys dog list, Ryko will also place on the top 10 most heartbreaking Yu-Gi-Oh! Betrayals list. But Ryko's a good dog, whether he resides in the realms of light, in Darkworld, or in your deck. Hey you, are you tired of boring, predictable merch? Wouldn't you love it if you could have something more exciting? Something with a random chance to give you more than what you spent on it, but in a legally distinct way that's not gambling? Well, we have nothing like that for you, but we do have something pretty similar. Introducing the TheDuelLogs TCG Mystery Box. It comes with playmats, card sleeves, a deck box, and not one, but 2 DuelLogs mini plushies. Individually, all these items would cost over $130. But if you buy them all together in the mystery box, it's only $59.99, being less than half the price if you bought everything individually on the TheDuelLogs store. Order yours today. Check the link in the video description or the display under the video.